Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the Ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
From the book, God Bless America, Prayers and Reflections for Our Country, Daniel Webster said this: "If we abide by the principles taught in the Bible, our country will go on prospering and to prosper. But if we and our posterity neglect its instructions and authority, no man can tell how sudden a catastrophe may overwhelm us and bury all our glory in profound obscurity." Think about that. Good morning, everybody. Here comes Kate Smith, and God Bless America, followed by a Patriot with our Pledge of Allegiance on a Monday. Good morning, good morning. Thank you very much, Kate Smith, and God Bless America. Thank you, and I'm Zeb Bell, and this is Zeb at the Ranch with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. And, of course, some of our great advertisers, including Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland and Burley, and our friends at Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Get on the route service. Don't forget, call them at 734-6969. And we say a good morning, and we've got to move right along because, as Gina Jameson knows, we're in political season, and we do not have time to spare, do we, Gina?
We never have time to spare.
Busy times. And how are you?
Yes. I'm doing well on a fine Monday, and how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Beautiful weekend. Thank you so much. Appreciate all your help putting things together. And do we have a pledger?
We have Mr. Al Butler on for the pledge and Michael Rogers on for the weather.
All right, very good. Al, the pledge, please.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, sir.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Al, thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate it, Al. God bless you, man. Thanks. And I'll be giving you a call after the program. I got to talk to you for a few minutes. All right. Thank you, sir. And right now it's time for the weather, brought to you by Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for their blue door. Oh, my. They've got all their Halloween and Christmas decorations over there. You'd better check it out. And they've got all the repurposed furniture for you to take a look at. And they will meet or beat any price on flooring. Any price on flooring. So please get a hold of them today. 678-6945. Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for their blue door. Here now is Michael Rogers' weather.
There you go. Morning, everybody. Sunny, high 79, chance of rain after midnight tonight. 49 for the overnight low. Enjoy the weather. It's the only weather you got.
Whoa. Okay, that's it. Thank you. Michael Rogers' weather, short and sweet this morning. Cheney Flooring and Home Design, our sponsor, at 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Thank you very much. Look for their blue door. Hey, by the way, I want to apologize. I'm not apologizing, but I am saying bear with us for the next couple of weeks, because we do have a lot of political ads on the program and a lot of great people that are running for office. So bear with us as we get all those ads on the air. Don't forget SafeLink Internet. And that is Idaho's #1 choice for wireless high-speed internet. No contracts required, no credit checks, unlimited data, high speeds. Man, I'll tell you what, get the job done for you. We've been on their program for a long time right here at Zebeth Ranch, and we do appreciate what they do. SafeLink Internet Services, Idaho's #1 choice. Call them 677-8000. Get on their program today. Also, somebody else I want to have you get on their program, and that's Daryl's Cleaners at 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. Restoring various items is Kevin's specialty. And don't just throw it away because somebody says, oh, it's all yucky. No, it might be able to be restored, and take it in and ask him about it. Don't throw it away. Daryl's Cleaners. You take it in there and talk to Kevin, 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley, for all your cleaning needs. Daryl's Cleaners. Really good folks. All right, calls are welcome. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. As I said a moment ago, a beautiful weekend. Weather was great. Blue skies, crisp temperatures. Very, very nice this weekend. And Gina, right there, if you're by the microphone, we had kind of a milestone this weekend. You know what it is?
Yeah, the Vandals won.
Not only that, all 3 of the major schools in the state of Idaho won. Boise State, Idaho State, and the Vandals.
Hallelujah.
Go to the mountaintop.
I think that's been a while since that has happened.
You know, it's interesting to hear you say that, because I was wondering how we could possibly check when was the last weekend in football, college football, that University of Idaho, Boise State, and Idaho State all won on the same weekend.
Let me do some Googling on that one, but I can tell you what, it has been a long time. Probably, I'd say, better than 8 years plus.
All right, now, by the way, in football news, this is aimed at Gina, a team that she is very partial to and a cheerleader every Sunday for the Seattle Seahawks. They lost to the lowly St. Louis Rams.
I know, 2 losses in a week, or 2 losses.
Yeah.
To the Cowboys. To the Cowboys?
Yeah.
And now?
The Cowboys don't look that bad.
No, apparently, and the Rams don't look that bad either.
Yeah, and the 49ers got beat last night. They didn't get beat. They got thrown out of the stadium, Mile High Stadium last night.
The 49ers did? Oh, yeah.
Oh, my.
You know what? Peyton Manning was just phenomenal. We were actually watching the game, and every time I looked over at the score, it's like Denver had scored and San Francisco was stuck at 10.
You know, it was Peyton Manning's night. He set the record all time for the most passing touchdowns, 509, and believe me, still counting until he quits. And I'm going to make a prediction, and I hope I'm alive to see myself proven wrong, but I don't think I will be. No one will break that record.
It'll be decades before that record is broken. Peyton Manning is hands down the epitome of what it means to be the ultimate quarterback.
Well, I tell you, Brett Favre had the record, and now Peyton Manning has it. But I'm telling you, with the longevity of NFL quarterbacks and the lack of longevity, I should say, I don't think anybody will ever break that record. And I think whatever he ends with, as far as the total count when he retires, that will never be touched.
I don't think so either. And, you know, Peyton Manning, he is so competitive, not only just within the sport, but I think he's just competitive with himself. He always wants to better himself and best himself.
Yeah.
And so I think he is possibly, this is going to be his goal, to continue to up that record and, you know, just get it up there as far as he can, because the man just won't stop.
And I'll tell you something else for all of you folks that were doubting Thomases, myself included at the beginning of the season. Green Bay is in first place. Okay. Yeah, I just thought I'd throw that out. My Pack is back. There you go.
Yay.
Calls welcome. 436-2244. 1-866-927-4587. Hey, don't forget Scott Gano Landscaping and Sprinkler Service. 336 South, 450 West of Paul. Number to call, 438-2485. And if you need to have your sprinklers blown out, you better get it done now, because if you got a sprinkler system and it's going to get chilly and they might freeze, and then you have problems. Don't let that happen. Call Gano Landscaping and Sprinkler Service now. And by the way, too, he can make sure all your trees are properly pruned. There you go. There's a couple of P's there. I know. Properly pruned. Fruit trees, ornamental, shade trees, whatever. He can take care of it. Gano Landscaping and Sprinkler Service at 438-2485. Hey, by the way, too, it's political season, and we want to say thank you to all of our politicos that are on the program, including our dear friend Senator Dean Cameron wants to express his appreciation to the citizens of Minidoka and Cassia County. Very grateful for your support and honored to have the opportunity to serve. He cares deeply about Idaho and our community and works extremely hard to represent and defend you. He's the Senate Chairman of the Budget Committee and senior member on the Resources Committee, and he has led in very tough economic times where Idaho was one of the 5 states with a balanced budget. He asks for your continued support and encourages you to vote on November 4th. Senator Dean Cameron, and by the way, please vote yes on the constitutional amendment, paid for by Senator Dean Cameron. All right, give us a call. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Did you hear about the CDC? The Center for Disease Control. Now, I'm not talking about Ebola on this story. I am talking about President Obama signing an executive order. This came out on Friday afternoon. Normally a slow news day because everybody wants to break away for the weekend and just get lost, especially with all the headaches that are going on. Well, Obama issued an executive order for the CDC to study the dangers of our guns that we own to us and the dangers of gun ownership. Now, the CDC, with a stroke of a pen by Obama, has been given and warranted millions of dollars to this study. And there are also bills that are pending from some Democratic congressmen that want to treat gun violence as a disease. Another form of gun control. They want to treat gun violence as a disease. So no matter if you're protecting yourself in your home or whatever happens, they want to treat your ownership as a disease. And when you think about it, doctors and hospitals are already invading your private concepts and thoughts by asking you questions about gun ownership, etc. When you are asked those questions, I urge you not to answer them and look them in the eye and say very sweetly, that's none of your business. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call. I'd like to hear from you. Come on, give me a call. Hurry. It's Monday morning. Let's get in a roll here. Valleywide Home and Ranch. Oh, by the way, they've got all the heaters, the heat tape, the propane heaters, propane, anything you need for winter, you might as well stock up and be ready. And the winter clothing, too. And all the feed for your animals. And while you're in there at Valleywide, just go over to their snack bar area and get a cup of coffee and visit with your friends. They're all there at Valleywide Home and Ranch. Check out the winter gloves and all the area boots, too, at Valleywide Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida in Rupert. Really nice people, okay, at Valleywide. Oh, and I'll tell you about other nice people, too. We got a whole bunch of nice people on this program. I want to talk to you about Ramsey Heating and Electric. And, of course, it's time to get your furnace serviced. If you got up this morning and you said, whoa, a little chilly on the floor, and you go over and crank up the furnace and it goes chug, chug, chug. Hey, get it serviced, get it ready for the cold weather, and don't forget they've got all your furnace filters over there at Ramsey Heating and Electric, 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Number to call, 678-0459, where they provide warm winters and cool summers. All right, your turn, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Did you hear about Obama in Maryland? Yeah, this past weekend. And he was there to endorse the Democratic Lieutenant Governor candidate Brown. And I'm not making this up. You can check it out yourself. He gets there, and you know how he always kind of jumps up the steps with his elbows. You know, he looks like he's jogging. He's been criticized for the way he looks, coming out of an airplane and going up steps to a podium, whatever. And he's in Maryland, and they introduce him, and now, ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States of America. And people started getting up and leaving. I am not making this up. I mean, in the gymnasium where they held it, people started getting up, grabbing their coats, and leaving the facility. First time that's happened to him, I think, since he was president. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. I'll stir up the pot this morning.
All right, go ahead.
How about that guy that Obama assigned to the Ebola czar? Now, wasn't that about an incompetent, stupid assignment? The guy doesn't have any medical experience whatsoever. He's a lawyer.
Yeah, I'll talk about that on the air. I'm glad you brought it up. It was down my list a little ways. This Mr. Klain has been a political hack for a long time. He has no medical knowledge whatsoever, no hospital knowledge, no disease knowledge, and he is going to be the Ebola czar. To me, it was nothing more than just being a spokesperson for the administration to cover their tracks.
Yeah, I'm going to have to call you back, Seb. I can't hardly hear you. I understand you're all caught up this morning.
All right, thank you.
I'll
Appreciate
call
it.
back, buddy.
Thank you. Appreciate it very much. Yeah, I watched with great interest and horror at this. Why not name a doctor? Why not name somebody to the caliber or the class of Dr. Ben Carson? Somebody that knows medicine, somebody that knows about what the Ebola crisis can do and possibly might do. But they name a political hack like this Klain that absolutely is nothing more than a mouthpiece for politics, and this administration, that ought to leave you with a cold feeling. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah, first I want to thank you and Deanne for that nice note to Joyce and I.
Well, you're very welcome, Fred, and you know you and your wife mean an awful lot to us, so by golly.
Well, you guys mean a lot to us, and that was very kind of you.
You're very welcome.
And we're doing fine.
All right. What did you think, Fred, about all the mess we're in with the Ebola scandal and also the ISIS and here we are, the CDC is going to try to come up with some kind of a comprehensive plan to take our guns away. I mean, this is a mess.
It's a terrible mess. I'll tell you what I think. I think they better shut our borders down quick, or we're going to be in a bigger mess. You know, this Ebola, if they don't close these borders, it's going to be in us big time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with you.
And not only from Africa, but from our southern borders, because they're going to come in there. They're going to get in there some way.
I could not agree more, my dear friend. I think also, Fred, that the younger children that are suffering from the enterovirus, which is a paralytic type virus that's going through our school systems right now, can be traced back to a lot of the problem coming across our southern borders. We have got to close the borders. That's it. Just simply 3 words: close the borders.
That's right, but tell that to Obama.
I agree. Fred, you and Joyce, the very best. God bless you, man. Thank you. I got to get another call in before the break. Thank you, sir. Caller, I'll be right with you. Stand by. Don't forget Denny's Restaurant. Oh, my goodness sakes, at 611 Overland and Burley. Oh, great food. I'm looking at a picture of the pumpkin pancakes and the hash browns and the bacon and the eggs and all the menu items that are absolutely fantastic. So I suggest that you stop in and have breakfast, lunch, or dinner today. Treat yourself. yourself. And then don't forget, next week on the 30th, we're going to have our Zeb's Lunch Bunch Halloween party. We hope you'll be there. Easy to find, easy to get into, and wonderful food and service at Denny's Restaurant, 611 Overland in Burley, the home of Zeb's Lunch Bunch. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Well, good morning, Zeb. I can hear you a lot better this time.
All right, real fast. I've only got about a minute left.
With Ebola, like Fred was saying, we better close the borders off, because as soon as this gets into South America and they start panicking and start running up here to get treatment if they think they got it, and in a South American medical system down there, they don't have the type of facilities to contain an Ebola outbreak amongst their people.
That's right. That's right. I have my dear friend Randy Givens down in Austin, Texas. He's a professor at the University of Texas. Sent me weeks ago a warning about all the South American folks that are going to be coming up here just like stampeding cattle if this thing breaks out in their country and gets so much worse, and we have no means or methods to stop them and or treat them. And I'm telling you, when I get Crapo on the phone, hopefully this Wednesday, I'm just going to ask him a simple question. Mike Crapo, how come we're not shutting down our borders?
Well, I can pretty much tell you what the answer to that will be. It's because Obama wants to enhance his Democrat liberal voting base so that he can, the Democratic parties can continue on with their dominance on the political landscape.
You've got it. You've got it, my friend. Hey, listen, I've got the Capital Press Ag Minute coming up right now, but I do appreciate you calling back. God bless. Have a good day. Thank you. All right. Thank you, sir. Hey, before we go to the Capital Press Ag Minute, I want to remind everybody about Snyder's Surplus. Not just Army and hunting supplies. No. They've got everything over there at 112 South, 200 West of Rupert. And they've got furniture. They've got filing cabinets. They've got tea tables. They've got wool blankets. They've got everything for you. All you have to do is stop in and see the new store, the new merchandise with the great friendly service at 112 South 200 West of Rupert, Snyder's Surplus. Here now, the Capital Press Ag Minute, followed by some good words.
The Capital Press Ag Minute is brought to you by OnlyAg.com.
The recently formed Grain Crisis Response Group in Idaho is trying to find ways to help wheat and barley growers in southern and eastern Idaho who suffered heavy losses this year due to unusually heavy rains in August and early September. The group was formed by Idaho's Speaker of the House, Representative Scott Bedke, a Republican rancher and farmer from Oakley, who said the direct losses will be between $120 million and $180 million. Insurance gaps means much of the loss is not covered. Bedke said one of the group's main goals is to have the USDA's Regional Risk Management Agency in Spokane, Washington, issue some guidance to clear up confusing language in insurance policies so that there's no doubt about what is covered. This is Hannah Brose.
To receive instant, exclusive, unlimited access to the West Agricultural News Source, register your account today at CapitalPress.com.
Hi, I'm Brad Little, and I'm running for Lieutenant Governor. Idahoans are some of the most innovative and hardest-working people in the world. Let's help all Idahoans be job choosers, not job takers, for a better future.
Idaho is one of the best states to do business. With a strong system of education, we can attract more jobs in both traditional industries and new fields, like health, energy, manufacturing, and technology.
I'm Brad Little. Let's work together to build strong families, strong career choices, and a strong Idaho.
Hey, Little for Idaho, Tom Johnston, Treasurer.
Vote yes November 4th for HJR2, a constitutional amendment to keep the power of Idaho governance with the people. Vote yes on HJR2 to limit executive power over you and your business. Vote yes on HJR2 to keep your legislators working for your needs, not special interest groups. Vote yes on HJR2 to preserve the voice of we the people for the state of Idaho. Vote yes on HJR2. Paid for by Representative Fred Wood, House Speaker Scott Bedke, and Senator Dean Cameron. Vote yes on HJR2.
Thank you very much, and calls are welcome and appreciated right now. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I have never, in all the years of doing this program, had as many people come up to me over the last couple of weeks and voice concerns about what's happening in this country, how we're falling apart, how things are just absolutely in a scary situation, and a complete lack of leadership with the president and his administration and our Congress. Never, ever had so many people come up to me, and many of those same people, and I want to get your opinion on this, have voiced the opinion that in the next 2 years, with Obama as the kind of supreme being, and with his executive orders, etc., the fear of martial law. Every single person that I've talked to that is concerned about Obama and things with his executive orders, like giving money to the CDC to study gun control and gun violence and treat it as a disease, those are just the flies in the milk. And many people are and people that I didn't expect would be worrying about that, have said very emphatically that they believe that there will be an imposition of martial law in this country, and possibly even, and I'm not making this up, I'd say that 6 out of 10 people that have talked to me have said Obama's going to figure out some way for the imposition of him to stay in office and rule as a tyrannical dictator. Now, I'm just telling you what people are saying. And it's not just the right wing. There are people that I thought were very liberal in their thinking have come up and said the same thing. Caller, I'm going to ask your indulgence. Stay with me. I'll be right with you, I promise. Don't forget Berry Equipment and Rental. My goodness, they've got everything you need for fixing up everything around your place this fall. All the equipment. They got the big Doosan loaders, and they got all the Bobcats, and they got all the Coyote tractors. They've got all the man lifts. They've got it all for you in 3 locations: on Addison Avenue West, Twin Falls, South Lincoln in Jerome, and, of course, 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. Berry Equipment and Rental. These folks can really help you if you're looking to buy or rent. Berry Equipment and Rental. Stop in and talk to the professionals. 3 locations, Berry Equipment and Rental. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Jeb. With all the confusion that's going on in this world, Barack Obama's mind is in a state of confusion, and he's posing more danger to this country right now because he has no idea what to do. The way that everything is going now, a lot of us old timers, and I talk to a lot of people about my age, figure that we're sliding into another depression. We're going to go from a recession to a depression, and as long as we've got this guy in there, I don't know why somebody doesn't find a way to get rid of him before he ruins this country.
Well, Tony, I disagree with you on one part of what you said. I think your words were because he doesn't know what to do. I disagree with you. I think this man and I think this administration know exactly what they're doing. I think this is all a part of a sinister plot. I've said that for a long time, and I'm going to stand behind it. I think he's not amateur. I think he's not inept, but I think he's very devious.
Well, devious he is, and I hope the younger generation of welfare people that have voted him in office has learned something, and maybe their eyes are open now. Hopefully.
I hope so, Tony. I know you are the generation ahead of me, you and Mary, and you've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly of previous administrations, and especially the Depression. And all I can say is God help us, because I think that we have a complete lack of leadership right now that might lead us down those same paths.
Hopefully, let's look for the man upstairs there for answers.
Amen. Tony, always appreciate you. God bless you, man. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Nice man right there. A big shout out this morning. Hold on, caller. I'll be right there, I promise. A big shout out for a letter that was in the Times News this morning by a gentleman by the name of Aaron Amos from Burley. And Aaron, spot on. And the letter was, why don't you need an ID to vote? We need an ID for everything else. And he very, very emphatically and very tastefully showed and wrote about everything where we need IDs. is and why not for going to go vote. Aaron, I salute you. Thank you. That was a very well done letter this morning. Aaron Amos from Burley. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, Zeb, I had a very eventful weekend, and there's quite a few things I'd like to share with you and the audience, that I can't do it all in one call. But I spent some time talking to A.J. Belukoff and his lieutenant governor this weekend, and I asked him, did you vote for Obama? That's the first thing I said to him. And he said, I didn't vote for Obama. I said, did you vote for him the first time? He never, ever said. He wouldn't answer the question. And I said, tell me, defend what this man is doing to our country. And he said to me, well, I'm running for state office. He did not have a defense of it. He did not want to talk about it. And I said, well, you also said in one of your debates that we couldn't afford to manage our own public land when there's resources, abound in that. I said, if we do that properly, then it's a great economic benefit for Idaho. Why did you say that? And it was kind of a busy place, loud, and there was a conversation that I didn't, you know how it is when you're busy like this, and then it's hard to get it all in and try to get him to answer, and so I was very concerned about why he didn't answer if he'd been voted for Obama the first time. And then the lieutenant governor, Barry from up in McCammon, he's running, against Brad Little. I asked him if he did vote for Obama, and he said he didn't either time. And I said, of course, what it is, that why would you even consider such a thing when the destruction of this country is being shown in front of your eyes? Because these are types of things that if you got a chance, you could maybe get them on your program and grill them, because we need more time than me talking to them. You know what I mean?
We need a captivated audience. And first of all, let me say this. I salute you, Randy, for going up and confronting them. But I want you to go back to something you said at the beginning of the conversation when you asked him if he had voted for Obama, and you pressed him on it, and he said, what about how he's running for a state race? Rephrase that and tell me that again.
Well, I says, tell me, defend what is happening to this country by this administration. Defend it and tell me why it is good for our country. Tell me that it's not destroying it. He says, I'm running for state office. I don't want to... that was his... Whatever. I said it's not a quote, but he basically said that. Go ahead.
Well, no, the point I'm getting at, Randy, my goodness, being a governor of any state, I don't care if it's John Kasich from Ohio, I don't care if it's Butch Otter from Idaho, I don't care who it is. You are absolutely right there at the peak of power for the state. You are the protection device for the state, if you will. And you are supposed to be fighting against all the onslaught of federalism that comes down the pike from Washington, D.C. How dare this man minimize his importance as maybe a potential governor? And I'll tell you something else that really bothers me. And for any Democrat out there that is upset about this, you call me and tell me I'm wrong. Every single debate that I've heard, every single thing that I've listened with Mr. Belukoff is basically a one-trick pony in the center ring of the circus, and that is involving education. I haven't heard hardly anything about Idaho's water. I haven't heard hardly anything about some of the comments that he's made off the cuff behind the scenes on the wolf issue. I haven't heard comments about anything that are really pertinent to agriculture, the sage grouse issue, etc. And I'll tell you something, we need more than somebody that's going to garner funds for education.
Well, I just think he thinks that's a weak spot, and that's where he's going to do the gouging, and he's going to be intentionally vague about the rest of it. And, and where is our media grilling him about all these things? I guess, again, even in Idaho, they're catering to the Democrats. And so, one more thing quick.
He had a partner there, a guy that was actively involved in his campaign. He might even have been his finance dude. I don't know. And I asked him, I said, that's the first question I asked these guys. Did you vote for Obama? I said, I want to know. Because if you did, then I said, I don't have any use for you. And he says, I did. And he says, I even went to the inauguration.
Oh, my.
In 08. And I said, tell me that you can defend what is going on. And these guys never, ever really got into it. They just started to go elsewhere or try to make it sound like Bush had somehow created just as big a mess. And see, the truth of the matter is the destruction that is already in place in our country, just to get rid of it is going to be a massive staying alone, let alone what this man is going to continue to do and do in the next 2 years.
I agree with you. Randy, I salute you for your courage and your veracity to go after the information. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and I don't know if it'll be today, but I'll call back later about an example of Obamacare that will just scald your whatever.
Okay.
I'll call you back.
All right, I don't want anything of mine scalded personally, so be real careful. Okay, thank you. All right, thanks, buddy. Hey, don't forget, calls are welcome. Woo, scalded. I don't like that thought. I dropped a hot biscuit the other day, and, well, never mind. Sophie's Chatterbox, 530 East Street on the square in Rupert. Oh, my goodness, what a great place to go eat. And they're open Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., Saturdays and Sundays, 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., and what a bakery over there. Oh, wedding cakes, cookie bars, homemade bread, delicious cinnamon rolls. Ah, yes. Just ask all my clients to get those cinnamon rolls. They love them. Sophie's Chatterbox on the square in Rupert. Really nice folks. By the way, I want to talk to you just a moment if I could. Representative Clark Kaufman, a Filer area farmer and businessman, is running for re-election for state representative in District 25. Clark Kaufman has leadership experience with multiple statewide organizations and received the Friend of Co-op Award from the Idaho Co-op Council in 2014. He thanks you for the privilege of serving as your representative the past 2 years and asks for your vote in the November general election, November 4th. He encourages you to register and go vote. Paid for by the committee to elect Clark Kaufman for Idaho State Representative for District 25, Seat B, Debbie Kaufman, Treasurer. There you go. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Gina, I don't know, maybe they changed things during the football games this past weekend or something, but I noticed that we've got a lot of kind of little static or something in the background. Is that coming through?
Yeah, I kind of noticed that. Nothing's changed, but I'll have Jerry look at it.
I appreciate that. As long as you can hear it, then I know we're okay. All right. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give us a call. While we're waiting for your phone call that we know is coming in, I want to remind you it's time for the weather with MichaelRogersWeather.com, and it's brought to you by, oh my goodness, Mad River Laser at 502 East Street in Rupert, and she's got the Carhartt jackets. If you're going to expect the colder weather, then you'd better check on a Carhartt jacket, and she can customize them right there with your company name, your name. I mean, these are really, really nice. Check out everything, sweatshirts, caps, t-shirts, everything for your promotion of the business at Mad River Laser, 502 East Street in Rupert. Right now, here is Michael Rogers' weather.
Hello, everyone. Michael Rogers for Zeb at the Ranch. How about no Green Bay Packers? I just had to get that one in there because I know you're all going to be talking about that today. Why am I not surprised? As far as your weather is concerned, it's a great day to talk about the Packers. It's a great day to talk about the Cowboys. It's not a great day to talk about any NFL team because it's going to be nice. But you got rain in the forecast later on, and it's going to take place right around after midnight tonight. 79 for the high, 39 for the overnight low. So a brand spanking new week of the Union weather. So enjoy it. It's the only weather you got.
All right, Michael, thank you. Brought to you by some really nice folks over at Mad River Laser, and they're located at 502 East Street in Rupert. You stop over and see Nicole and the crew today. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. No, they're backing up.
That was Adrian, but we've got somebody else. Hold on.
All right, thanks, Gina. Appreciate it. All right, good morning. You're on the air. Hello, come on, talk to me. Hello.
It's not me. I just going to say that my telephone or my radio is not staticking anymore. About the middle of the week, it quit staticking. So I'm happy.
Oh, okay. Well, we're having a little static on the line this morning. We can tell.
I was going to call Dean and tell her I wasn't going to talk to you about it.
Well, you just did.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thanks. Well, you want to talk to me about it, but by gosh, he was going to talk to somebody in the know. All right. Well, we got that all taken care of. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Hello, talk to me. Turn down your radio. Off. Thank you.
I thought there was another caller on. I got cut off. AT&T's cut me off 3 times in the last 2 days.
Oh, my.
Even with a good signal.
All right.
Anyway, get a little irritated at that. You've gone through that with your station. So anyway, I wanted to make a comment about what you said about are we getting ready for martial law. I don't know why Homeland Security would be buying up jillions of hollow point ammunition unless they plan to do something with it.
You know, when you sit and talk about Homeland Security and you talk about them buying up ammunition and you talk about them being very aggressive as far as buying arms and weapons, and you got to sit down and ask yourself why. I mean, Adrian, this is kind of scary.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, but, just like your previous callers, talking to various people, and we're wondering where this country's going to go. Our economy is just, teething. They keep saying we got all these new jobs, but so many people are just quit looking for work. And you got 50 million people on food stamps, and, we're being taxed and regulated to the hilt. So you go back and read the Declaration of Independence, which I did just recently, of all the things that they had gripes with the King George, and we're basically right back to it. Only the thing is, we do have a constitution in place. If we had enough politicians who would stand up and defend their oath and do something to stop it, but they just keep pouring out money to the EPA. Keep money, money's going to these unelected, unconstitutional bureaucrats, and as long as they give them the money, they're going to get their substance out.
I agree. How concerned are you? Give me a short answer on this, because I've got to roll right along here this morning, but how concerned are you, Adrian, when you hear all these stories about the downplaying and the stepping on and the stepping over of our Constitution by this administration?
Well, absolutely. I mean, he just thrown it in the corner. He uses his pen and what have you to just do whatever he wants to. And the EPA, I guess there's some new rules that are coming down in addition to the ones he's already had. And so they're just, but his goal has been what you said, and I concur, is that he's out to destroy the economy of this country, make us a third world country so we can be, we can be fair, so we're part of the crowd, so we can be part of the new world order under the United Nations. And so,
right.
Folks, the UN's eating our substance out. Look what the World Health Organization has done on Ebola, or I should say hasn't done on Ebola.
Absolutely. We've got so much to be worried about. Even though we live in the greatest country in the world, we're letting it slip away and be discarded and torn apart by this administration. I agree with you. Adrian, thank you very much for your call. God bless. Thank you. In another story this morning, I want to get this in. An Ohio school has had outside on their lawn, they have had a sign that says, "The Lord is my shepherd." They have had that sign on their lawn for years and years and years. Well, here comes the ACLU. And the ACLU stops in one day and they said, take the sign down. You can't have that out here anymore. It might offend somebody. And so the school was threatened with a lawsuit by the ACLU saying, take down the sign that says, "The Lord is my shepherd." So the next door neighbors heard about this, and they went over to the school and they bought this sign, and then they even added to it. And they made it an electronic sign that lights up at night. It really looks nice. And right on the borderline of the property, between their personal private property and the school's property, they put up this illuminated electronic sign that says, "The Lord is my shepherd." And this husband and wife in their early 70s, they just basically told the ACLU, bring it on. It's on our property. And, you know, when people are driving by, they can't differentiate as to whether it's on this gentleman's property or on the school property. It's that close to the line. And he said, it's on my property. I have all the coordinates to prove that it's on my property. Now back off, shut up, and leave this school alone. That's the attitude that we like. Tell them where to go and how to get there. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. You know, I was watching, I forget what channel it was yesterday, but anyway, they were talking about Mary Landrieu from Louisiana.
Yes.
And the first question they always ask her is, did you vote for Obama? And for some reason, they have a blank in their memory.
Mm-hmm.
And we're sure that she did. And she says she's out to protect all the oil and everything else that Obama is against. And how can that be? And they say that is a very, very close race.
I'm going to make a prediction. I think that Mary Landrieu is in a lot of trouble down in Louisiana. I don't think she's going to retain her Senate seat. There are some other stalwarts of the Democratic Party that I believe are in trouble, and necessarily so. And I'm hoping for at least not only a pickup of 6 seats in the Senate, but I'm looking at possibly 8 for the Republicans, and I hope it happens.
You know, and on McConnell in Kentucky, it's one up there, same thing.
Yeah.
Will not stay if they voted for Obama.
Yeah.
And they're defending the coal industry there because that's what makes people vote. And they say that's going to be a close race.
I'm just hoping and praying that there might be a bright spot at the end of the tunnel and it's not going to be a train coming at us head on, Keith. I'm really looking forward to this November 4th election, but I'm urging everybody that is a true patriot to go to the polls and vote. We need people to vote. Keith, I got to get a commercial in here, my friend. Thank you so much.
It's always good to talk to you.
God bless you, my friend. Thanks. Hey, don't forget Four Paws Bed and Bath, 370 West 200 south of Paul. Number to call, 438-4444. November 1st from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m., they're going to have a great big party. That's right, a pet Halloween party at Four Paws. Refreshments for both people and pets, and you can have your pictures taken with your pet and buy toys and treats and food for your pet at great sale prices. Fun for everybody at Four Paws Bed and Bath, Halloween party for you and your pet. Everybody be there at Four Paws Bed and Bath. Bow wow, kitty kitty, everybody at Four Paws. Hey, don't forget a great big tire sale too at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Woo, man, I'm telling you, they got all the tires. They've got the best in service. I mean, they really care at all 7 locations. I'll guarantee you that whatever your driving needs, whether you drive all the time, every day, hundreds and hundreds of miles, or whether you just go to the grocery store, they've got the tires just right for your kind of driving. And whether it's the Terramax HT or the Ultra Z900 or the Open Country AT, all the tires right there for you. And the best in brake service, the best in front end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries. Oh, by the way, have your battery checked to make sure it's in good shape as the cold weather settles in. Stop in and see Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family over in Paul, John on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland and Burley. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Absolutely the best. Now, coming up, boy, that's annoying, that little noise on the line this morning. But coming up next hour, we've got our dear friend Frosty Woolridge coming on from Golden, Colorado. And then at 9:30 this morning, we're going to be talking to Casey Maddox with the Alliance Defending Freedom about two things. Number one, the Houston pastors, where the lesbian mayor said she wanted to read all their sermons. And also about a couple in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho that are pastors that have a wedding service. They're being shut down and possibly thrown in jail because they would not marry some homosexuals. Very interesting topics coming up this next hour, so don't miss it. Frosty Woolridge and the Alliance Defending Freedom. And then at 10:06 this morning, Kyle Olson with EAGnews.org talking about Common Core education. Holy smokes, we got a busy day. Don't go away. I'll be back in 6. Oh my, welcome back. Hour number 2 on a Monday, Zeb at the Ranch, brought to you by our Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, and service is the key word. And also some of our great advertisers like Lee's Furniture, Floors, and more at 459 Overland and Burley, and our friends at Western Waste Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always the Georgia struggle. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at Georgia struggle. Western Waste Services.
Western Waste Services, and I think the word probably is dependability. Yes, it is. They're very dependable in taking care of all your garbage and getting rid of it. We have been very, very happy with the route service, and you will be too. All you have to do is call them and ask to get on the route service, and they'll take care of you. Get your garbage. It's gone. It's out of there. Number to call, 734-6969. Always at your disposal. Western Waste Services. You call them today. Really, really nice people. Also, and when I mention the words nice people, that's very fitting, too, for our next organization and business that I want to talk about, and that's Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert, with our dear friend Joel Heward. So supportive of community events and also very supportive of our lunch bunch. Thank you very much, Hanson Mortuary, and they do so much to help with very flexible hours in traveling to rural towns and churches to serve you and your families. All you have to do is call them, and they'll be there. 436-5636. That number again, 436-5636. Always upholding the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity in serving you. Hanson Mortuary in Rupert, 436-5636. Let's go to the phone lines right now and talk to a very, very dear friend of ours, and that is, of course, Frosty Woolridge. Good morning, Frosty. How are you?
Good morning, Zeb. Yes, thank you. Just enjoying the last weekend, sunshine, 75 degrees. Gosh, the CSU Rams up there in Fort Collins, of course. I mean, Greeley just won, and they might get a bowl, so that's great for them. And, of course, Peyton Manning is just making all sorts of history and just electrifying the entire Denver audience and the nation with his extraordinary 509 or 10 touchdown passes now. So, yeah, it's been great. Just wonderful here in Denver, Colorado.
Yeah, real quick, I'm going to say this to you, and I think you're going to agree with me. I don't think that if he plays the rest of this year and plays again next year, and the accumulative total of his touchdown record is never going to be broken, because the longevity of quarterbacks isn't that long in the NFL anymore.
That's true. You know, it's almost like Lou Gehrig's disease. Lou Gehrig's disease that ended his fantastic streak of 2,400 games or something.
Yeah.
You never thought that was going to get beaten, and then of course he got beaten by what's his name? I can't even remember his name now, but.
You're talking about
Baltimore Orioles,
right? Cal Ripken.
Yeah, Ripken, did it. But I must say that there's no question the longevity of lasting that long in the NFL as a quarterback is extraordinary.
Yeah.
And more than likely, if he does play another, he gets up around 600 touchdown passes. Oh my gosh, it will probably it will stand for decades and decades. So anyway, just great excitement and lots of thrilling football here in Denver last night, and and I even got 40 miles on my bicycle. I got to ride through the last of the autumn colors. So it's been pretty good.
Hey, Frosty, you and I talk about immigration. We talk about these open borders, but right now, along with the open borders and the enterovirus that's coming across our southern border, a very paralytic type virus which is affecting and infecting our youth. We've had deaths in the school system, etc. And then, of course, we've got the Ebola scare, and we don't know who or what is coming across our borders. We don't know who or what are coming into the various airports. Why? Frosty, why aren't the politicians that we hired through our vote doing their job, protecting Americans and saying enough? Slam the door on people coming in until we find out what is going on and how to take care of it.
Well, that is the great question for, certainly this autumn, and hopefully everyone listening will go to the polls and start making some common sense voting. Please go to newswithviews.com. I just wrote a piece called Just Plain Stupid, Obama Sending Troops to Ebola-Ravaged Africa. One of the things that I just found out is that my commentary on why are we importing Ebola, disease-carrying Africans into this country right now to infect our own people, having, two nurses who are using hazmat suits are already affected from the Texas hospital where Duncan died. And now we're bringing in more of these Ebola-infected doctors and nurses. It makes no sense whatsoever. And then to send 3,000 of our troops over there, I want everyone to really read the piece. Just go to the top of newswithviews.com. You'll see my picture there. Click it on, and I just blown away, rationally, logically, medically, and every other way. Why would we send 3,000 of our young men and women over to Ebola, ravaged Africa? Because number one, you can't stop it over there in the place where it's trying to stop Ebola with an M16. Give me a break. Trying to stop Ebola when our nurses can't even stop themselves from getting infected from one. There are thousands of people over there infected with Ebola, and we're just simply going to create more kids with Ebola infections themselves, bring them back over here to try to save their lives, and then infect more of ourselves. I called for an immediate canceling of all flights coming in from Africa. You can't stop that disease by importing it into our country. You need to stop the flights and the people from coming into our country. And mine isn't the only commentary. If you go to Freedom's Phoenix or Liberty News Online, or you even go to Op-Ed News, which is a liberal site, if you go to News with Views, you're going to see Federal Observer. I mean, there are dozens of outstanding commentaries, and they're all saying the same thing that mine is saying, and that is stop importing Ebola people from West Africa into America. Let them deal with it over there. Let them deal with their lack of sanitation. Let them finally understand that you cannot continue, and I talk about it, over in Africa. Most people don't realize it, but they literally have a sanitation problem. It's unbelievable. Africans, for the most part, defecate on the land. They urinate on the land. The same is true of India and Bangladesh, even in South America. In fact, this is the cause of 80% of the diseases in third world countries are caused by unsafe water and poor sanitation. and the people play in it, the kids play in it, the rivers are polluted and contaminated, and so to pretend that we can go over there with 3,000 troops and solve the problem is absolute stupidity beyond belief.
You know, and you're talking about really low-educated third-world countries, and just like you said, their lifestyle is that of 200 years ago or more, and to try to say that, oh, well, we don't want to hurt their economy, oh, well, we can nip it in the bud when it comes here, all we are doing is exacerbating the problem, and I point the finger at this administration, and I damn them and condemn them for absolutely an amateuristic approach in trying to solve a virus that could be another devastation to mankind. I have nothing decent to say about this administration for their handling of Ebola. It's been purely amateur.
Well, it's a new kind of incompetence. I'm a common sense kind of guy. There is no way that if I was a superintendent of schools that I would welcome kids coming into the classrooms with chicken pox and or mumps or measles or polio, because I know for a fact that those diseases would infect the healthy kids and jump from student to student. Why would the President of the United States, if you want to use, he's the superintendent of our country, essentially, import people with Ebola, such a virulent virus, into our country? Even one case. I wouldn't have brought Duncan in. I would have sent him back as fast as possible. I certainly, as the superintendent of schools or the President of the United States, would not send my kids. You know, if Barack Obama wants to send a bunch of our troops, why don't he send his two daughters over there and have them work as student nurses' aides in an Ebola-affected hospital? You know, the real problem what happens in our country right now is that powerful men and women in high places send our kids off to fight wars like Iraq, or they mandate them to go over to an Ebola-infected country like Liberia, and or any other West African to stop a disease. These are American fighting soldiers. They fight bad guys like the jihadists and the Islamists and all that goes with it. They don't and can't and won't be able to succeed fighting against a virus. I hope the American people start calling their senators and their congressmen and women and their governors and the TV stations and letters to the editor, and let's get this thing to the forefront and tell this president that we want our borders locked down. We do not want any more diseases coming in. We don't want 60,000 children from Central America carrying head lice and tapeworm, and we don't want them carrying tuberculosis, and we certainly don't want them coming in here with enterovirus to infect our children. It's that simple. And so each of you listening, you've got to take action. You've got to speak up. You've got to write, and you've got to call. And that's really what's got to happen here, because this president and this Congress and the CDC, even the CDC is absolutely incompetent to not be screaming to have our borders shut down and to stop flights coming into our country, Jeb.
You know, and I agree with everything you said. I do, because, but our voices are not being listened to. They're almost treating us with a sneer and a snicker, and I just don't understand what it's going to take without a mass, I'll use the word, I'm not a coward, it's part of our verbiage and part of our dictionary, revolution of raising the awareness to these politicians in their three-piece suits and their wingtip shoes that they work for us. We do not work for them. We do not have to take their edicts away from what we, the people, want, and I'm fed up with it, but I don't know what to do. I sit here on this program and I'll yell and scream and holler. I'll get them on the air and I'll say to senators and congressmen, we want this done, and they'll say, I will do this, I will do that. I want a coalition of power back there from these dot heads to go and pound their fist on the Oval Office and say, Obama, this has got to stop. Are you there? Did we lose Frosty? I think we did, after all that. Gina, we lost Frosty. Are you there? Is anybody there? We have been having a little bit of problem on the line this morning, and there was some severe background noise, and hopefully we can get Gina. Deanne, would you please try to get Gina? And we are not currently coming across, so I'll see if we can't get somebody at the station. Stay with us. Numbers to call. We're not on.
Well, he's on. That's Gina. You need to call back.
All right.
Hello. He's calling back.
She's got to hang up the phone.
And from Africa, I don't want any more Ebola coming into my community, into my state, into my city, into my community, and to my children. That's what we have to do. And until we do that, these numbskulls, and I'll tell you what, the President of the United States, Barack Obama, he proves himself a numbskull. Or he's doing it by design, and some people say he is doing it by design. I mean, let's change America into a third world country just completely infested with Ebola and all these other diseases, such as tuberculosis. Mm-hmm. Tuberculosis kills 2 million people a year, and the reason it does that is because these people live in just utter squalor, compacted into these cities. They have no health care, they have no health sanitation, they have no personal sanitation. So, whatever he's doing a heck of a job, and that is bringing the United States and the people of the United States down to their knees with diseases and the lack of any kind of leadership. It's beyond me, Zeb.
Well, I'm going to ask you this, though, Frosty. This past weekend on Friday, slow news day on Friday afternoon, everybody's getting ready to leave Washington, D.C. It came out that Obama, with a stroke of a pen and his phone with an executive order, is going to provide millions and millions of dollars to the CDC so that they can study the danger of guns, our guns and our gun ownership, because they have bills introduced right now that are pending that say gun violence is a disease, so they turned it over to the CDC. Now, what kind of lunacy is that?
Well, it is total lunacy. Guns are simply, they're just firearms. What you have to really appreciate, whether it's Chicago with 50 shootings over the 4th of July weekend, it's bad parenting. It's bad, marriages. It's anger between illiterate people. It's loss of school, and it's loss of personal accountability and personal responsibility. I understand he's got another little stroke of his pen. He's going to give 100,000 Haitians a free pass to come in with more chain migration, so that we can have more of Haitians in Miami, and more Haitians on welfare, and more Haitians destroying our school systems, and more Haitians with their own brand of culture and their own brand of a complete third world culture. Again, I'm a person of common sense. I'm a person who thinks logically and practically. I think at some point, if the Republicans take over the House and the Senate, this man needs to be impeached. And I mean impeached because he is fundamentally changing America from a vibrant, vital, and cohesive country to one with unbelievable racial tension now, unbelievable stupidity and foreign affairs. He's proving himself to be totally incompetent as far as furthering the American way and the American people. And he may be, in fact, I think Dennis Prager just came out and said he should be impeached. Dennis Prager is one of the big radio talk show hosts, said that this man is literally undermining America and the American way of life, and he needs to go. And I would second that. This man needs to be impeached because he's not serving the Constitution, and Barack Obama is not serving the American people. And I want to fire this guy because he's not doing the job he was elected to do for
Amen.
our country and our way of life.
Very, very well said. Frosty, I've got to wrap things up here because we are loaded down with a whole bunch of political ads going up to November 4th. And I just want to say thank you very much. Excellent conversation this morning. I always appreciate having you on the air, and we'll look forward to next Monday. Until then, enjoy the fall leaves, stay on the bike on the top side, and enjoy. We'll talk to you next week.
Thank you, Zeb. Godspeed, my friend.
And God bless you. Thank you very, very much. One of my dear friends right there, Frosty Woldridge. Hey, Gina, if you can hear me, I'm going to do a little word for our dear friend Fred Wood. And then following that, if you would mind, please playing an HJR2 ad, I'd really appreciate that.
You got it.
Hey, don't forget Fred Wood running unopposed for representative in District 27. Fred is such a dear friend and the chair of the Health and Welfare Committee and on the Resources and Environment Committee. Fred listens, works for the people of District 27, and helps protect Idaho's water and creating a positive economic environment, supporting natural resource industries, and preserve traditional Idaho. And he urges you to go vote on November 4th and vote yes on the constitutional amendment. Remember that. Paid for by Fred Wood for House Seat 27, Fred Wood. And right now, this word for HJR2.
For some reason, it's not airing. Hold on.
Okay, I'll wait patiently with bated breath. I'll tell you what I'll do. While you're trying to get that to go, I will also tell everybody about our dear friend Clark Kaufman. Yes, re-elect Clark Kaufman as your District 25 representative to the legislature. Clark, I bit my tongue. Clark Kaufman has served on the Revenue and Taxation Committee, Transportation and Defense Committees, and the Business Committee. He is honest, hardworking, and capable, as you know, very capable. And remember to vote on Tuesday, November 4th, and exercise your constitutional right. Vote Kaufman, paid for by the committee to elect Clark Kaufman for Idaho, State Representative for District 25, Seat B. Debbie Kaufman, Treasurer. Let's go back and see if Gina's got the old machine working. How's that?
Good. It's for some reason. I might have to hold on a second. Can you do just another live read?
Oh, yeah, that's not a problem. I've got plenty of them. I want to just remind everybody that we're under a little bit of duress this morning. Evidently, there's some things that aren't functioning properly, and so therefore we're just trying to get everything working. I want to remind you, did you hear that? Did you hear that? Well, if you didn't, I suggest you call 312-0957 and make an appointment with Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, Christine Pickup, Doctor of Audiology, at 1218 9th Street, Unit 2, right behind the Minidoka Hospital, across from the emergency room. That number again, 312-0957. Hearing loss is not a part of aging. And don't ignore hearing loss. That's something that's not an age problem, and it's not normal. And there's lots of illnesses and sicknesses that could lead to hearing loss. So you check it out today at Mount Harrison Audiology. Call for an appointment, 312-0957. Let's check back over with Gina and see if we have everything all fixed and ready to go. Evidently.
For some reason, it just doesn't. It's supposed to air, but it's just not airing, and I can't hear it.
Oh, my goodness. Well, it ran earlier this morning, and everything was good.
No, I know. Hold on just a second here, because...
Okay.
7-3...
Don't ask me about computers. That would be a mistake that would never be repaired.
I am going to find it another way, so we will do this one, make good, and then let me get the next caller on the air.
I'll tell you what, if you'll do that, and I will start my remarks by giving another commercial. Little bit of mechanical problem this morning, and we'll get that rectified, so stay with us. And I want to also remind you about Cameron and Siemens Insurance. Dean Cameron, Todd Siemens at Cameron Cameron and Siemens Insurance, life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits, all of this and much, much more. As something just boomed like Moses on the Mount of Olives right here. And also I want to remind you that they are very dedicated and responsive to your needs. So please, when you think about your successful financial future, think about Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Number to call for an appointment, 436-4424. Let's go to the phone lines right now. And with us this morning from the Alliance Defending Freedom, we have Casey Maddox. Casey, good morning to you. How are you?
Give me a second. I'm having a multiple meltdown here.
Okay. Well, what do I need to do now?
Nothing, but honestly, I think I got it running, so hold on a second.
Okay, here comes HJR2.
Vote yes November 4th for HJR2, a constitutional amendment to keep the power of Idaho governance with the people. Vote yes on HJR2 to limit executive power over you and your business. Vote yes on HJR2 to keep your legislators working for your needs, not special interest groups. Vote yes on HJR2 to preserve the voice of we the people for the state of Idaho. Vote yes on HJR2. Paid for by Representative Fred Wood, House Speaker Scott Bedke, and Senator Dean Cameron. Vote yes on HJR2.
There we go. Thank you, Gina, for your diligence. I mean, she taught that machine how to act with her, I'll tell you. And right now we're going to go to the phone lines, and we have with us with the Alliance Defending Freedom, Casey Maddox. Casey, you haven't been on this program for a long time. How are you, sir?
The number you gave me is disconnected and it's no longer in service.
You gotta be kidding me.
No.
This has turned into a not good day. Let's verify the number that I gave you, okay?
703-250-6277.
Okay, let's try this one. 202. Okay, ready? 888-7625.
This is live radio, by the way.
Okay, well, that number that you gave us, Deanna, is not working. So
I got the doo-doo, and I'm like, oh no, please not
we'll
now.
try this one, see what happens. This has been a complete disaster in the last 20 minutes.
And I will say this last mistake, that was mine because I accidentally bumped the switcher.
Yeah, that's all right.
Oh, there we go.
Good morning, Casey. You're on the air. Zeb Bell, and we're talking to Casey Maddox with the Alliance Defending Freedom. Sir, how are you?
I am doing quite well, Zeb.
It's good to have you on the program, and I know we are just a couple of minutes late. We've had some mechanical difficulties out here this morning, but I'm certainly appreciative for your time. And first story I want to start with, Casey, is the government telling a couple of Christian ministers from my home state of Idaho, you either perform the same-sex weddings or go to jail and pay a heap of money. What's going on up in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho?
Well, the hypotheticals are now the reality, Zeb. We have been warning about this, and so many have been warning about this for so long. And it's now happening, and it's happening right there in Idaho. The Knapp family, you have a minister who runs a wedding chapel there in Coeur d'Alene, and the city has said that now that the courts have required Idaho to recognize same-sex marriages, that their non-discrimination ordinance, which prohibits discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation, will apply to them and will force them to perform same-sex marriages in violation of their faith.
Now, Casey, I've read a little bit about this, and I'm going to ask you some questions about this and tell me if I'm all wet and completely wrong. But are they running this business called the Hitching Post up in Coeur d'Alene? It's a lakeside chapel. Are they running this for a as-for-profit business, or are they just doing it for gratuities? How is this structured?
It's a business, but they basically charge a small fee for the weddings that are performed. And what the city is telling them is that you actually have to and they turned away weddings before that would have violated their conscience. What the city is and would still outside of this issue. But what the city is telling them is you actually have to say the words. You have to bless this union. You have to go through the entire process of actually conducting a regular wedding service the way they normally would in violation of your faith. And the reason for that is because you take any sort of money for conducting a wedding service.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so what are we going to do? How are we going to stop this onslaught of Christianity and of weddings, etc.? I'm going to talk to you in just a moment about what's going on down in Houston, of which I've devoted a lot of time on this program, fighting the attitude that a lesbian mayor can review and basically give a yay and a nay to pastor's sermons. But how are we going to help these people up in Coeur d'Alene? How are we going to help Donald Knapp and his wife to keep their business? How are we going to keep Christianity the way it should be? What are we going to do? Tell me.
Well, I think what we're seeing now is, particularly for the church, this is the time for the church to stand up. We have seen this issue for years impacting others. The Christian wedding photographers and so many others have been impacted over the years. In the abortion contracts, the nurses who didn't want to assist in abortions. And now in California, you have churches that are being told you have to provide abortion coverage in your insurance plan. So the battle has come to the church itself, and it's time for the church to stand up and for the church to fight back and refuse to bow to these demands and be the church.
You say that, though, Casey, and again, believe me, I'm going to do all I can to help support these folks and support the church. But what can the church do? I mean, basically just thumb their nose at the city and these frivolous laws. Tell us, what can we do? How do we get involved? How do we absolutely stand up for the Bible and its teachings? How do we go against these very sick people that want to just absolutely trash Christianity? Tell us what to do.
Sure. I think the first thing is that the church must continue to preach and live the truth. So that's your first step. Contact folks in Coeur d'Alene, the government up there, and tell them that this is an outrageous assault on the First Amendment rights of the Knapp family, and that particularly for your listeners there in Idaho, you're not going to stand for this. So contact them and let them know. As we've seen in Houston, citizens responding to the government and telling the government that what it's doing is egregiously unconstitutional, they still have some amount of capacity for shame. We saw in Houston that the mayor there at least began to try to dial back parts of the subpoena. It doesn't quite do the job, not at all. But at least the mayor there seems to be getting the public pressure. And I think that same sort of public pressure needs to be brought to bear in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho.
You know, let's tie in what's happening over in Houston. I was absolutely shocked that a lesbian mayor would come out against biblical teaching and preaching, whether it's Romans 1:27 or anything in Ecclesiastes or anywhere else in the Bible. Basically, what she's saying is the Bible be thrown in the trash can, and if you make a sermon with anything regarding those passages in the Bible, we will possibly put you under house arrest and have you removed from the pulpit. This is America?
It's really shocking. Like I said, we've heard for years the calls for tolerance, and I think what we've learned here, if we hadn't already picked up this lesson over the years, is that the people who cry for tolerance the loudest really never meant it. And in Houston, it's this effort to try to force pastors to try to attack pastors over what they're saying in the pulpit, and even beyond that, and even after Houston's attempts to sort of try to dial this back, so they take the sermons off and just demand that pastors turn over their private email and text conversations and other conversations with members of their congregation and others about, for example, homosexuality. That should send a chill down everyone's spine. The idea of the government demanding that kind of private communications between a pastor and his congregation.
Casey, doesn't this mess in Houston all stem back, and let me give you just a little preface on what I'm going to say to you. Here in our state of Idaho, about a year ago, the city of Pocatello and other towns passed what they call a bathroom bill, which basically said that homosexuals, lesbians, and transgenders could go and use any facility they wanted to, and there wouldn't be anything as far as an onslaught of criticism over and against the bill. And this started down in Houston, Texas, and that wasn't that the starting point for this lesbian mayor to condemn pastors and what they preach?
That was. So you had the city enact this ordinance, and people were quite upset about it. They launched a petition drive as good American citizens to do what you can do to fight back against something like this. They launched a petition drive, needed 17,000 signatures, and they got over 50,000 signatures.
Oh my!
It was approved for the ballot, so this bathroom bill would have been put on the ballot, and the people of Houston bill would vote on it. And the mayor and the city attorney got involved and started throwing out whole pages of signatures, including the signature of one of the city council members.
Oh my!
And saying that they were not proper. And so the folks who had gathered the signatures then sued the city over that, and it's in that context. Lawsuit between people who are gathering signatures and the city about its process for this petition drive, that the city lashed out at pastors all over the city demanding their private communications and their sermons.
Where is the sanity? Where is the decency? Where is the morality in our society anymore if we're going to let these vile, filthy people, including this mayor, if you will, of Houston, come in and just absolutely destroy the foundation that this country stands on and the biblical word and prophecies, and in God we trust? What are we going to do, Casey? This thing is getting completely out of hand.
You know, I think what you're seeing is that certain forces will use whatever tools that they think they can get away with using. And I'm gratified at least to see the sort of outpouring we've seen in Houston, because it means liberty is not yet dead in this country. That citizens were, across the ideological perspective, people were upset by this. The idea of this sort of an attack on religious liberty and free speech, and that's at least encouraging, and we should be, at least gratified to see that Houston didn't get away with this without being checked.
Let me ask you, Casey, you said, I think, I've got a bad connection here this morning, but I think you said that over 50,000 people signed petitions in favor of you and the Alliance Defending Freedom and against this filthy, filthy attitude the mayor has. What about using those same petitions for a recall and go on offense and try to get rid of this lady?
Well, and it was actually 50,000 signatures in support of a petition to get rid of this bathroom bill in Houston was what it was.
I see.
But certainly there have been efforts that others have, or suggestions from others about that possibility. The mayor of Houston, I would note for people, my understanding anyway is that she has never had more than 20% voter turnout in her election. So. There's no doubt about it that voting matters and showing up at the polls matters.
Well, what I'm going to do, Casey, is after the program's over, I am going to try to get a hold of Donald Knapp and his wife, Evelyn, and I'm going to try to get them on my program, if not tomorrow, on Wednesday, and lend any and all support to them and what they're trying to do up in Coeur d'Alene as far as saying no to same-sex weddings, and lend any support we can. And is there anything else that you would suggest I, as a radio talk show host, and my listeners can do?
I think getting the word out is your biggest role in life, and we are very grateful for it, particularly with this coming up in Idaho. Thank God that you're there to make sure that your listeners are aware of what's going on and are ready to push back and make sure that this sort of government mindset of coercion, finding and jailing people for their faith is not something that you're going to stand up for.
You know, Casey, I'm just going to come right out and say it, that with 2 years left of this very hideous administration and their policies and dictates, the sky's the limit as to how bad things can get with the Obama administration and their perverted sense of values. Would you want to comment on that or not?
Well, you know, there's no doubt at all that I think in the last 2 years of an administration, there tends to be even more of an emphasis on what the president can do with his own pen. And we've seen an administration here that even for the first 6 years have been focused on using the president's own pen to do whatever he could possibly do. Mm-hmm. So we're going to have to be ever watchful, ever vigilant in making sure that the administration stays within its constitutional bounds and doing whatever we have to do in court and you know, with a public education to make sure that the administration is kept in check.
Absolutely. Now, Casey, I'll tell you what, I am going to try to get a hold of, like I said, Donald Knapp and his wife after the program later this afternoon. And if you have any information at all on the best ways and means to get a hold of them and assure them that I'm definitely on their side and will do everything I can from Southern Idaho to support them, I'd appreciate that information. But God bless you and Alliance Defending Freedom. And I want you to tell my audience how they can go to your websites and get information about Alliance Defending Freedom and help support you.
Absolutely. Well, the website's easy. It's alliancedefendingfreedom.org. You can read there about all the issues we've talked about. Folks there in the Knapp family, Houston, as well as this California abortion mandate, and a lot of other stories that are affecting the church today.
Absolutely. Casey, anything and everything that I can do, just don't hesitate to give me a call, and I'll do my best out here to get this on the air and let everybody know the real story. Thank you so much for being on the program this morning.
Thank you, Zeb.
You bet. Take care. This just sickens me that we now have the different very low-life left groups going after two people in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, a man and a wife, that are ordained ministers, and they have refused to do the same-sex weddings. It's not part of their beliefs. It's not part of the Bible. They don't want to do it, and they're being forced and coerced to do so or face jail and fines. I am going to get Mr. and Mrs. Knapp on the program, and hopefully we can do it tomorrow morning. Time for the weather, and the weather is brought to you this hour by Lennox Home Comfort Systems. Gas furnaces, air conditioners, and heat pumps. You and your family will enjoy the comfort, and all of this through our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric at 678-0459, located at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Here now, Michael Rogers weather.
Hello, everyone. Michael Rogers for Zeb at the Ranch. How about no Green Bay Packers? I just had to get that one in there because I know you're all going to be talking about that today. Why am I not surprised? As far as your weather is concerned, it's a great day to talk about the Packers. It's a great day to talk about the Cowboys. It's about a great day to talk about any NFL team because it's going to be nice. But you got rain in the forecast later on, and it's going to take place right around after midnight tonight. 79 for the high, 49 for the overnight low. So a brand spanking new week of the Union weather. So enjoy it. It's the only weather you got.
All right, Michael. Thank you very much. And, of course, brought to you by Lennox Home Comfort Systems, gas furnaces, air conditioners, and heat pumps through our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric, 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Number to call, 678-0459. Before we take our next guest on the program this morning, I want to remind you, too, about fall savings going on at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. Oh, my goodness sakes. Last week we had Jason on the program, and he was telling us all about how you can buy a king-size mattress for the price of a queen and a queen-size mattress for the price of a full. Oh, my. Get in there, and they've got mattresses. Fall savings, no money down, no interest until 15 months on approved credit. it? My goodness sakes. And check out all the dinette sets. Thanksgiving's right around the corner. Family's coming. Check out all the dinette sets at prices that are unheard of. Stop in. Very, very low prices. Save you money. At Lee's Furniture, Floors and More. 459 Overland and Burley. You stop in and see them today. Right now, we're going to go over to the Golden Heritage Senior Center, and we have with us on the program the lovely Linda, the manager. Good morning, Linda. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing great. How about you, Zeb?
Oh, your voice sounds so cheery this morning on a Monday morning. My goodness. Tell us what's on the menu for the Senior Center all this week. What do you got cooking over there?
Today we're having meatloaf and potatoes. On Tuesday we're having chili, the cinnamon rolls. On Wednesday we're having barbecued pork sandwich. On Thursday we're having the chicken pot pie. And on Friday it's tuna casserole.
Oh, my goodness. Now, who sits down and comes up with all the different meals for the different days? Do you sit down and kind of organize that with the cooks?
Absolutely. Actually, we have a really great cook right now, so she does all of our menus, and really few changes that I'd have to make after she hands it to me, so she's just doing an awesome job.
You know, we have been in the process, Linda, of getting and organizing a date picked out November 20th, 4 weeks from today, for the first annual Pilgrim Pride Thanksgiving dinner at the Golden Heritage. Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, it's going to be so much fun, Zeb. We have so many things planned. We have games, we have door prizes, we have raffles, and one of the raffles actually has a $100 bill in it, so it's going to be just fine. It's going to be fun.
Oh, man, and the food is going to be phenomenal.
Yes.
Tell us about the what's on the menu that night.
Well, everything's going to be traditional. I'm not for sure exactly what the menu is, so everything is going to be just fantastic. We're going to have the turkey, we're going to have potatoes, we're going to have ham, we're going to have pumpkin pies, of course, and a lot of other stuff.
You know, the thing is, Linda, a lot of people don't realize that senior citizen centers, they just don't have a lot of money. And when they have these fundraisers like this for Thanksgiving or whether it's Christmas or whatever, that money is necessary not only to help the senior center, but possibly to have funds for the Meals on Wheels. So the public really is encouraged to support it, right?
Absolutely, yes. So we have had a lot of donations from the people that are around us right now. All of the businesses here have really been great support. We really, really appreciate every single one of them.
Well, I want to urge everybody. Now, by the way, the tickets for the Pilgrim Pride Thanksgiving dinner on November 20th, we're going to start at 5 o'clock at night and go till whenever people stop coming in the door. But it's at only $5. I mean, that's very economical.
That is a very reasonable price. It is.
And they'll have a chance to get door prizes and just music, entertainment. Holy smokes, it's going to be a fun night.
I think it is. I think it's going to turn out pretty good.
Well, Linda, I appreciate you and all you do over at the Golden Heritage Senior Center. Thank you so much for coming on the program, and have a wonderful day. And we're inching closer to that Pilgrim Pride dinner on the 20th of November. God bless you. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, take care. There is a very nice lady over at the Golden Heritage Senior Center, and talking about the first annual, and put this on your calendar, and I want you to be there. Deanna and I are going to be there. We're all going to have fun there on November 20th. Now, that is a Thursday night, and it's going to be from 5 p.m. until whenever the lines are no longer there. And it's going to be all dressed up in all the original style Thanksgiving. You know, like there's going to be a lot of people wearing the clothing of the Pilgrims and the Indians, and the menu's going to be quite comparable to what they had back in the old days. And there's going to be door prizes, and there's going to be all kinds of games. That's going to be a lot of fun at the Golden Heritage on November 20th. Don't miss it. Hey, let's ride. Highway 24 between Rupert and Burley. Oh, they've got your snow machines in there. They've got one with your name on it. Yes, sir. You better stop in and check it out. And they've got all the accessories. They've got everything so that you can take off and get up there in that angel dandruff and play. Have a good time. And they got all the ATVs over there. And again, all the accessories. And if you need something worked on, they've got a fantastic service department. All of this at Let's Ride, Highway 24 between Rupert and Burley, where the fun is sold. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, Zeb, it looked like you had a little break here. I want to give you a little story about Obamacare.
Okay.
And how it's being infiltrated into our lives as we speak. And they're doing it through the medical community, and the government is forcing it down our throats. And everybody just kind of is obediently doing what they're supposed to do, even if it takes a life.
Mm-hmm.
I have a brother-in-law that lives in Lovelock, Nevada. He has stomach cancer, and he's 60 years old, and he's a young man, vibrant man, has children, a wife, a farm, and he's just the nicest guy you ever want to meet. And he finds out he's got cancer, so he goes down to Nevada, to Reno, and he gets set up. And because they don't have the funds or the manpower to monitor people like they should, they send him home with an auto-feed chemotherapy system.
Oh, my.
And now how this all works, go ahead.
No, I'm listening. I just said, oh, my. Go ahead.
And I don't know how the hell this works, but he's obediently following the doctor's rules. And the doctors are obediently, in some cases, following the government's mandates.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes home, and I don't know how long it took. We heard that he, had cancer, and that he was going to do the thing that he should, and he felt that would be to do what the doctor said, chemotherapy in this case. So they send him home. It's an auto-feed system. It overfeeds him. You see, he needed to be monitored and then maybe adjusted this thing.
Right.
So he's in Lovelock, and he stays there. And about a week ago on a Friday night, they said they're life-flighting Dan to Reno. He's just in terrible shape.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I really am.
And the next morning, the phone rings, and my wife answers it. And she was very close to her brother Dan. And she says, oh, Danny boy. And she finds out that he's dead.
Oh, no.
And she cries uncontrollably for a half hour in my living room, and I think to myself, now this did not have to happen. And this is what happens when you say, well, he's 60 years old, he's getting in the latter stages of his life, so we don't have the manpower to treat him as we should the young working man. And so he's sent home, and nobody's monitoring this. And he's obediently doing what he's supposed to do. And he thinks, well, I guess this is just the way it is. I'm going to have to endure it. Well, it kills him.
Oh.
And so this is the kind of, the lack of care, the lack of personal response that you get with this Obamacare.
I agree.
And
I got to jump in right there, Randy. As you can tell by your watch, I'm almost out of time, but I want to just say this. That story that you just gave me is, I know, heartfelt, and I just want to extend to you and your family sympathies and condolences for your loss, but it makes me all the more committed to do as much as I can on this program to condemn and damn the Obamacare and federal bureaucracy for getting involved in people's lives. I've got to run to the news, but please call me tomorrow morning. We'll talk more about this. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ed. Bye.
God bless you, man. Oh, that's a sad story. Just the cold, callous government. And it's almost like he said, oh, well, you reach a certain age, you're expendable. How hideous. We'll be back in 6. Don't go away. Good morning and welcome back. Hour number 3. I'm chuckling because it feels like hour number 10 this morning. Good morning, everybody. Zeb at the Ranch, and brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. And along with some of our great advertisers, Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burling, and our friends at Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Get on the route service. Get rid of your garbage, 734-6969. Hey, before we get our guest on the phone, I want to remind you, too, about the Chadwick Sports Grill. Ooh, boy, great eating over there. And today, at their location at 139 West Main in Burley, they're going to have pulled pork and chili nachos with super salad. That sounds so good. Pulled pork and chili nachos. Along with everything else on the menu, it's great at the Chadwick Sports Grill, 139 West Main in Burley. Really, really tasty. By the way, as you know, I've been, since I had surgery last January, I had a lot of trouble with this leg and trying to rehab it. And boy, we've been going over to the Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, with Nick Greenwell and the rest of the staff. And I've been using that pool, oh my goodness, for the hydrotherapy. Absolutely excellent. 98% of the people that go there are from doctor referrals, and they've got the friendliest, most knowledgeable staff, comprehensive services, and they can help everybody from 6 months old to 96. And believe me, they've got all the exercises. They know sports medicine and how to help you. Helping you get back to being you. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. Call today for an appointment, 678-1191. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. Let's go to the phone lines right now, and we have with us a gentleman that I have the utmost respect for and his knowledge as to what's going on in education. And we say good morning to Kyle Olson with EAGnews.org. Good morning, Kyle. How are you?
I'm doing well. Good morning.
By the way, let's see, you're back in Michigan, and that means that you and I really are diametrically opposed to each other, because your Detroit Lions are tied for the lead right now with my Green Bay Packers. But I'll just tell you simply, you're going down, buddy.
Well, you know what a fair weather fan I am. I was watching the game yesterday, and there was an interception, and I ended up turning off the game. And then I was on Facebook last night, and a friend of mine was at the game and took a picture of the scoreboard, and it said 24 to 23, and I had to look at that a couple times to make sure I was looking at the right scoreboard, and it ended up the Lions won.
The Saints blew it. They blew it. And next week, the Green Bay Packers play the Saints, and we'll see the comparison between the two. Kyle, in all honesty, I absolutely have been reading all I can about Common Core education. It scares me. I don't understand why we put ourselves in this kind of a mess. And I was reading a piece that you had in regards to Ohio State Representative Matt Huffman, and he said the death of Common Core is not a question of if, but when. Do you honestly think Common Core might go away?
Well, I think it depends on the state. There certainly is a movement. I think it's a pretty strong movement in Ohio. But really, it depends on the state and the willingness of leaders to take a second look. If for no other reason, just to make sure that it's actually what proponents claimed it was going to be, that it's actually going to improve educational outcomes. To me, I think it's perfectly reasonable for leaders to constantly be, second guessing and evaluating policies that they implemented and passed a few years ago. Because I think when it comes to Common Core, what we heard, the rhetoric was that it was a state-led initiative, and it was governors that were pushing it and all of that sort of thing. And if that's true, which I dispute that, but assuming that's true, to now, as it's been phased in and rolled out in school districts, to see how the federal government has been very involved and threatening school districts if they try to change different aspects or those sorts of things, says to me that it really is shaping up to be a federal initiative.
Mm-hmm. What are the biggest, I've had this question come in quite often from my listeners, and they hear the term Common Core, and what are the biggest negatives, the biggest scares of Common Core education from your standpoint, if it's adopted to its full extent in our education system?
Well, I think there are a number of them. Some of the biggest ones are education has long been a state and local issue where historically communities have controlled education. They have made those sorts of decisions, whether it's textbook adoption or hiring teachers or what's being served in the lunchroom, those sorts of things. Those have been local and state issues. But one of the concerns is that what Common Core is doing is it's essentially national standards, because states have historically adopted their own standards, and some would be better, some would not be as good. But that has been left up to the states, because the theory was that states are the incubators of policy. And so what is happening with Common Core, though, is it's taking all of that away. And so states aren't, competing against each other to be the best, to have the highest standards or to have the best graduation rates and those sorts of things. And so it's taking away that incentive. But when it comes to parents, one of the biggest complaints I hear or concerns is that the amount of data that will be collected on students. Because what's been happening is you have the standards, which, basically the standards dictate when students will be reading, at what grade they should be taking algebra, all of those sorts of things. But then another component to it is the test, and making sure, because then the test is used to figure out where kids are matching up with the standards. And so one of the concerns with the tests, which most of them are funded by the federal government, by the way, and the federal government's been very involved in those. But then what's been happening with the tests is all sorts of data is being collected on students, and not just how they're reading or not just how they're computing, but all sorts of very sensitive personal information, like the amount of work that they're doing on the weekend, or their family income range, or their voting status. All of those sorts of very personal details are then being incorporated into that data. And so a lot of parents are, upset because there's no clarity on exactly how that information is going to be used, who is going to have access to it, what the security is like when it comes to that information.
Right. Kyle, states have opted out. I believe Oklahoma repealed Common Core, and what about the state of Indiana? And there's others. I mean, are you seeing a trend now where people are waking up and saying, no, we don't want Common Core, and we're going to fight it, and we're going to throw it out of our state?
Well, we saw a number of states. You just mentioned those two. South Carolina is another one. Bobby Jindal in Louisiana is trying to get Common Core out of his state, and there's, that of course is making its way through the courts. Scott Walker has said that he wants his state to take a second look at it, Wisconsin, in the next legislative session in January. So there are a number of states that have made moves to do that. Ohio is another one taking a second look, like we just talked about. There are a number of states that are doing that. But then again, there are a number of states that aren't. Idaho is a good example. California, Illinois, there are a lot of states that just, aren't even taking a second look.
Okay. I've only got a short time this morning, abbreviated time, and I wanted to have you comment also. I was absolutely shocked in regards to Minnesota State High School League of Athletics, and they're having to make now a policy about transgenderism in their high school athletics. High school sports has changed a lot from when I was in school, Kyle.
Well, I think school generally has changed a lot. And this specific story that you're talking about is the board that basically creates the rules for high school athletics.
Right.
Was going to create a rule saying that transgendered athletes would be allowed to use the locker room that they identified with.
Oh my!
And of course, a lot of parents were upset about this, because that they just don't think that's appropriate, especially when it comes to showering and changing and everything else. But I think this is the kind of the wider trend that we're seeing when it comes to these sorts of issues in schools. We're seeing other schools in Wisconsin and around the country that are allowing transgendered students to use the bathroom that they choose to use, and those sorts of things. And so it is, schools today are in a culture war, and that's why we're seeing these sorts of issues play out.
Yeah, but Kyle, a culture war, but there's no right or wrong anymore. There's no black or white. Right. Everything has been mishmashed into what you think is right, go ahead and do it. Or if you think there's no black and white, it's gray. It's all a mishmash. What happened to rules, regulations, and a society that had some morality?
Well, I think those have been either legislated out or the courts have gotten that philosophy out of schools, and that's why we've talked about this before. That's why I think it's so critical for parents to really scrutinize not only the school that their children attend, but all the schools in their community, and really look at it and say, what school is going to reflect my values? And because I hear frustrations from parents all the time that they have to explain now what transgendered means to a second grader.
Oh my!
And they have to now bring up these sorts of issues that they never really thought about, at least not in the context of young kids. And I say to them, why would you send your child to a school to have to deprogram them when they get home? I mean, why not go to a school that reflects your values? And so I encourage all parents to do that.
I also want to ask you real quick about what's going on in Lincoln, Nebraska. When I first heard about this gender-inclusive school district in Lincoln, Nebraska, where the teachers are encouraged not to say boys and girls, but call them purple penguins, I about fell out of my old geezer chair.
Well, and this is exactly what we're talking about. This is the culture war, and this idea that I think it's a fairly innocent idea to call a boy and a girl, but yet what progressives are doing in schools now is rewriting all of that because they see a difference between gender and sexuality, and so, again, this is the culture war that's going on in schools, and that's why it's so critical that parents are engaged in this and they're aware of what's going on. And you really need to ask yourself, do I want to put do I want to subject my child to a situation where they have to either be called a purple penguin because some progressive thinks that's what should happen, or should I put my child in a situation, in a learning environment that is going to reflect my values and just be common sense? That's what's at play here.
Let me ask you, Kyle, and you're a parent, and you do a lot of study every day on these issues. And I don't mean to sound naive or try to minimize the problem, but why? Why are they doing this? Why is the liberal left committed to this? What do they want to achieve? What do they want to break down in society so they can have all this, what I would call, utter chaos?
Well, I think when it comes to progressives, what they want is they want to attack the traditional family because, I mean, just thinking, at least this is the way I see it. If you have a strong family, if you have highly educated, independent citizens who are able to provide for themselves, they can think for themselves, they can objectively look at candidates and figure out who best reflects their values and those sorts of things. What do you need a government for? I mean, why do you need someone to tell you what to believe or provide a handout to you and those sorts of things? And so what I see, and we have another story about this, about another school district that is adopting a new curriculum that's putting a bigger focus on the collective versus the individual.
Oh my!
And this is all progressivism, because the last thing they can afford and the last thing that they need is an independent citizenry who doesn't need them. And so that's why I think we see this push in government schools today.
What really, when you study all this going on in education, and I use that last word very lightly with all the changes and transitions, but what are these kids learning? Are they learning about science? Are they learning how to study the other planets? Are they learning how to create a better world? Are they learning how to solve math problems? It sounds to me like it's all psychological babble that's going on in the schools.
Yeah, well, according to statistics, no, there is not a whole lot of reading and writing and arithmetic going on. And just, I think it's perfectly reasonable to accept or to believe and expect the government education system to teach students the basics of government. I mean, to me, it just seems, it makes sense to me. But yet when you see these videos come out, whether it's Jesse Waters at Fox News or whoever, asking high school students and college students basic questions about civics, about the Congress and the branches of government and American history, it's embarrassing to see the sorts of answers that he gets and others get. And to me, it all goes back to what we see playing out in schools. There's a bigger emphasis on these sorts of social issues, social justice in schools, versus providing kids with the basics, leaving it up to parents to teach values and morality, and preparing kids for life.
Now I don't know how many years you've been involved in this type of work, but did you ever anticipate that we would be where we are today, October 20th, 2014, on a real steadily downhill decline? Did you anticipate we'd be where we are this fast?
No, I really didn't. And what's even more strange is that a lot of people just seem to accept it, or they just they aren't really engaged to the point, that they're outraged about it. Because again, when you look at the amounts of money that we're spending every single year, and you look at our graduation rates and our student proficiency rates, they're not acceptable. As a country, we spend the most of any country in the world for what we get, for the results that we get. And so this trajectory that we're on is not acceptable. And then when you throw in all of the sorts of, crazy indoctrination campaigns that we see, subtle and otherwise, it really isn't. It's not something that we should be accepting. And so that's why I encourage as many parents as I can to be engaged and trying to change their school boards, trying to just be involved in their child's education. And when they don't like something that's going on, to stand up and do something about it.
Absolutely. Well, I tell you, I'm honored to have you on the show. You're a bright light at the end of the tunnel. Kyle Olson, EAGnews.org. Thank you so much for being on the show, and don't weaken. We need you. Thanks, Kyle.
Thanks, Zeb.
All right, take care. Wow. I mean, there's so much going on every day that we just need. We ought to have our head on a swivel and try to keep up with everything. Holy smokes, it is scary out there, folks. Hey, every Thursday we have a segment about Cassia County school days and about education here locally and what they're doing and what they're teaching. And tune in, because it's brought to you by two great sponsors, A Child's World at 1308 Overland Avenue in Burley. And they've got all the games and the puzzles, and they've got layaway, and they've got all kinds of great things for the holidays. Oh my goodness, they got dresses and hundreds of new baby and toddler outfits at A Child's World, 1308 Overland in Burley. And also another great sponsor, the Ambulatory Surgery Center, right across from the Burley Hospital. You can save literally hundreds and hundreds of dollars right there on procedures like life-saving colonoscopies, and I urge you to go have information given to you about colonoscopies and eye surgeries, knee surgeries. Please give them a call. They'll give you the information necessary at 677-8888. That number again, 677-8888. Ambulatory Surgery Center, 1344 Highland Avenue in Burley, along with the Child's World, bringing you school days in Cassia County. I will bet you that if I do this good word for our dear friend, Speaker of the House, Scott Bedke, that right after I'm finished, I'll bet you the lovely Gina will tell us about HJR2. So stand by. Speaker of the House, Scott Bedke, District 27 representative, urges you to vote in the midterm election on November 4th. That's coming up faster than you think. And Scott is very concerned for Idaho and its growth and prosperity. And he also is concerned about the future future of the United States, and he urges you to go vote on November 4th and vote yes for the constitutional amendment HJR 2, paid for by Representative Scott Bedke of Oakley, District 27.
Vote yes November 4th for HJR 2, a constitutional amendment to keep the power of Idaho governance with the people. Vote yes on HJR 2 to limit executive power over you and your business. Vote yes on HJR 2 to keep your legislators working for your needs, not special interest groups. Vote yes on HJR 2 to preserve the voice of we the people for the state of Idaho. Vote yes on HJR 2, paid for by Representative Fred Wood, House Speaker Scott Bedke, and Senator Dean Cameron. Vote yes on HJR 2.
Gina, I got to ask you this. After the morning that both of us have had, would it be out of line if we both grabbed our to be better than thous and maybe an adult beverage is not out of the question?
I'm so ready for one. It's been kind of the morning already, and it's definitely a Monday.
You know, you get ready to have a program, and you visit back and forth, and you're optimistic about everything going on the air, and it just seems like it imploded and the building is now in rubble.
That is no joke. And everything I was trying to do, I'm like, this isn't working. This isn't working. Why is this not working? Can I blow up the building now?
And I had to sit here, and, you know, I used to get really upset and uptight and everything, but I had to giggle and laugh a little bit because I was so afraid that you might leave your mic open and then we would be put into obscurity for bad language or something.
I had to make sure that my mic was off, and honestly, I did double check like 3 times because I was saying some words that are not appropriate.
I love it. Anyway, I'm cool. I put some more deodorant on. I'm cool. Okay.
Me too.
All right. Hey, we're going to send it back over to you, and I'll be back in a couple of minutes. Zeb at the Ranch, don't go away.
And now back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Thank you very much. Don't forget our friends Lennox Home Comfort Systems, gas furnaces, air conditioners, and heat pumps all through Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Number to call 678-0459. At Ramsey's, they sell warm winters and cool summers, and you check with them regarding Lennox Home Comfort Systems for you. We're going to go to the phone lines right now and make sense of all the madness that's going...
Voicemail?
You got to be kidding me.
Does he have a cell phone backup?
I do. I just have that. You know, this is a day. Forget the adult beverage in a glass. We're going to have the bottle.
Okay, me, you bottle of tequila right after this.
Let's try 202 360 2480. Let's try that.
Live radio at its finest.
I absolutely love it.
There we go.
Uh-oh.
No, we're good. I just had to click it in.
Okay, I got scared.
It's a Monday.
Yeah, I'm getting more scared.
Are you sweating?
Profusely.
Come on, Dan, answer the phone!
Oh, I can't believe it. The best laid plans of mice and men.
Forwarded to an automated voice messaging.
Thank you, lady.
All right, I'm hanging up. I will continue to try and call back, see if I can get him on it. He might be in a meeting. I don't know. You don't know either, because we're never in the know.
You know, we set these things up, and we do this a week in advance, and then the day of the program, because of the Eastern time zone being 2 hours earlier than us, or later than us, I always call in the morning and say, now, you, of course, remember that you're going to be on the air at such and such a time. Oh, yes, we'll be there waiting for your call. And now I'm saying this through clenched teeth.
Well, you go ahead and do a couple of live reads that you got to do, and I'm going to frantically, I'm going to blow up his phone.
You know, I'll be honest with you. I'm caught up, and I don't have anything right now. I will say this, that in the Capital Press Ag Minute, and my dear friend Jack Euler, I know he probably read this, but in the Capital Press Ag Minute, there was quite a story about now the problems with wolves, Gina, over in the state of Washington.
Well, it's not like they didn't know that they were going to travel over there. They do have 4 legs.
Yeah, and they had a big meeting at a Linwood Convention Center, and all the crybaby ecos and enviros came out, and they were all upset because a wolf had been killed after it had killed about 34 sheep. And these eco-terrorists, I'm going to call them, they're absolutely livid that one of the wolves was killed, and they want the wolves only harassed by non-lethal methods. And I say bunk. A 30-06 would be appropriate in this case.
Okay, so for those of the people that don't know, Western Washington, Linwood area, highly populated.
Yeah.
There are areas that do have farms. I've lived over there for quite a while. So when you're introducing a wolf population into any region, i.e. like here in Idaho, they do travel, and they're going to travel eventually over to the Western Washington area because there is food supplies for them over there, i.e. sheep, cattle, deer, whatever. And so they're not going to be, well, that sheep has a tag on it, guys, so a pack, we can't go for this one, but that one over there, he's not tagged, so he's fair game. They don't think of it that way. And so when these environmentalists get together and they come up with this great plan that we're going to save the wolves, fine, hey, cool and dandy, but they're going to travel. They don't abide by boundaries. And so when you get them into a situation or into an area where there's farmers and they're relying on their sheep or their livestock to support their family, those sheep are going to be killed.
It's not only a supporting of the family, it's a supporting of the community. It's a supporting of the schools. It's a supporting of the churches. It's a supporting of the Boy Scouts, the 4-H, the FFA. These folks that are involved in agriculture are supporting of all these things. And I'm sick and tired of these ecos and these enviros saying that ranchers absolutely are not contributory back to the public and the benefit of their community. I absolutely find that pathetic.
And I'm in full agreement with you. It's like they did not look at the big picture.
Yeah.
They didn't look at 10, 20, 30 years down the road. They're only looking at the immediate. The wolves are so cute.
Yeah. You know what? We've got to support the wolves here in this state because of the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service and their edicts. But the numbers are way in excess of what we have to support. Yeah. And therefore, I say, have your wolf hunts, have your wolf derbies, and bring the numbers down to a manageable level.
I am in complete agreement with you. They need to cull the packs down to where they're going to be in a manageable level. So you've got a quick phone call right now.
All right. Caller, welcome to Chaos Monday. Good to have you aboard.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, sir.
You know, the Humane Society way to manage those wolves would be to cage them, and then that would be inhumane for wild animals to throw them in the cage.
Yeah. You know, George, I'm absolutely livid with the thought process of these enviros and these ecos that go to these meetings and they damn and condemn agriculture and come up with these weird, wacky, absolutely useless, worthless ideas of non-lethal. It all is going to cost the ranchers money. It's all going to cost and possibly put them out of business. And I just going to come right out and bluntly say, shoot the damn wolves, bring them back to a manageable level, and let it go.
What's really sad, Zed, there's so many things going on in this world today that you take one idiot that go out there and raise hell and try to stop everything good that's going on.
We are committed to keeping in the state of Idaho 150 wolves, basically in round numbers, the breeding pairs, etc. And you've listened to this program every day for I don't know how many years. And right now, literally, there's been estimates that we're over 12, 13, 1,400 wolves in the state of Idaho alone, not counting Wyoming, not counting the neighboring states, Montana, etc. I am so sick and tired of the environmentalists and the ecos changing the rules to suit themselves and being more of a burden on the general public trying to make a living, I don't have any use for these people, and I'm just saying, shoot the wolves and bring the numbers down.
Zeb, I took my grandson up to Island Park this weekend hunting. I've hunted that place for 30 years, and there was abundance of animals. We've seen a few deer he shot at, but that was it. A few moose. There's absolutely no elk. They're usually loaded with it. And if those environmentalists would ever see a wolf attack a herd, they eat those animals alive.
Yep.
You know, and it's just, and how can they protect something like that?
I've taken the gloves off. I'm not going to be nice. I'm not going to be politically correct. I think that we ought to have people on hillsides, on rocks, and sitting there with 30-06. I don't care if they use a bazooka. Bring the numbers down to manageable levels, and let's just kill them and get rid of them. They're a killer predator. They're not worth a damn. And quite frankly, I don't want to see people suffer, whether they're sheepmen, cattlemen. I don't want to see a little girl lose her 4-H project. I don't want to see the neighbors lose their dog. I'm just sick and tired of the ecos and the enviros because they're all wacky.
I agree, and it's also human lives are at stake. Those little kids, they're just good play for them as a lamb is.
I agree. George, God bless you. Good to hear from you, my friend. Thank you.
You bet.
Thank you. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. Well,
yes, sir.
This wolf issue, that just gets my ire up right now about that. The thing is that I've learned about this wolf situation is, first of all, this is not the native wolf that was here before.
That's right.
It's an invasive species brought in on purpose. It's called a Canadian gray wolf. It wasn't here, it was Canadian. The species that we eliminated years ago, the ranchers and stuff did, was the North American Mexican gray wolf. And that's what we used to be. It was much smaller. It was much less aggressive. And my granddad used to herd sheep. And back then, he used an old lever-action 30-30, and he would kill them things on sight. There was a reason why we eliminated the wolf.
That's right.
Protect agriculture.
That's right. And I'm not going to back up in any way, shape, or form. Agriculture comes first to me because we need to feed our families, feed the world, and keep food on the table for the masses that right now are suffering. And I much rather am going to take a lamb or a baby calf or anything else connected with agriculture over the life of a wolf. I will go along with the rules and regulatory means of saying that we have a certain number that we have to adhere to because of the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service and agreements that were signed, but that number does not have to be exceeded. That number does not have to go into the thousands. And I absolutely think the ecos and the enviros, sit down, shut up, let the guns go. We need management tools, and it's not working. We're being overburdened with wolves that are costing everybody money.
Yep, and the sportsmen, which I claim to be a member of, that group, we are losing our wild game at an alarming rate to
That's
these
right.
wolves.
You're right on. You're right on.
Get them back down to, I got a number for you, 0.
No. Now, wait a minute. That's the wrong attitude, too, because we made an agreement, and our side is going to adhere to it. We're going to play by the rules. They wanted 150. We gave them 150 times, probably 10. And it's up over 1,000 right now. And I'll guarantee you, I am not going to back up. If they want to have a wolf derby and a coyote derby, go get them. They want to have hunters go out and shoot them and try to manage the numbers, go get them. I am absolutely on the side of management, and these enviros trying to change the rules, I'm not for it. Let the guns roar.
Yep, I got one I can roar with myself.
All right, sir. God bless you for your call. Thank you. All right. Calls welcome, 436-2244-1866-927-4587. That's another issue. That's another issue that Mr. Balukov is not addressing and not coming out and stating how he would handle and or back up management of the wolves. You know, I don't care if you like Butch Otter or not. I really don't care what your opinion is. I know how I'm going to vote, and I guess that's all that matters. But I urge you to please go vote. But we don't need just a one-trick pony in the governor's chair in his office, and that's what I'm seeing all the time when I listen to these debates. Education, 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 education. Yes, we need educated young people in this country. Yes, we need great educational facilities for people to learn and flourish and go on to be scientists and doctors and everything else. But there's more to this state of Idaho and the management than just education. And that's where I get a little bit more than upset. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Did you see the full-page ad from IMA Grey Wolf in the Sunday Boise paper?
Sir, I did not.
Idaho is my home. It's so full of BS.
What are your thoughts, caller, in regards to the giving and always kowtowing to the environmentalists and the changing of the rules, changing of the agreements, always listening to them with their threat of lawsuits, with their deep pockets of money? I'm fed up with it.
They don't care for the wolves, my opinion. They don't care for the sage grouse. They just want everybody else but me out of the woods. If you have enough wolves to do away with the elk and deer, you have no hunters up there.
That's right.
That's my land. You guys stay out.
I agree with you and your concept, sir, and I thank you for your call. God bless you, and I hope that you have a wonderful day. Thank you so much. Thank you.
You too. Thank you.
I agree with that, man. It's always their way. It's always their way. No, we don't agree with now that we had the agreement for 150 wolves. No. Now we don't want any of them killed. Oh, no. Use non-lethal methods at your expense. And by the way, in Washington, they have a pack of wolves called the Huckleberry Pack that killed 34 sheep grazing in rugged terrain, and they had tried non-lethal efforts to protect the sheep, including patrols by state employees that cost more money, and that did not stop the wolves from killing and maiming and injuring the sheep. Load the gun. Time for the weather forecast, brought to you by Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome, and they're selling taste one bite at a time. Locally owned custom meat processor for over 20 years with their processing facility located in Jerome. They are good. They guarantee everything they sell. Don and the rest of the crew, I'll guarantee you're going to love the meat that you get from Scarrows Meats in Jerome. Here now, Michael Rogers weather.
Hello, everyone. Michael Rogers for Zeb at the Ranch. How about no Green Bay Packers? I just had to get that one in there because I know you're all going to be talking about that today. Why am I not surprised? As far as your weather is concerned, it's a great day to talk about the Packers. It's a great day to talk about the Cowboys. It's about a great day to talk about any NFL team because it's going to be nice. But you got rain in the forecast later on, and it's going to take place right around after midnight tonight. 79 for the high, 39 for the overnight low. So have a brand spanking new week of Union weather. So enjoy it. It's the only weather you got.
There you go, Michael. Thank you very much. Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome, 324-7657. They are selling taste one bite at a time. Whether it's the silliness and the absolute insaneness of the transgenderism in our schools, and all the idiocy that's going on in our public schools right now, whether it's the transgender issue with they can use any washroom or locker room they want, or whether it's not being able to call boys boys and girls girls, or whether it's a complete insanity over the wolf issue. People, it is time to start restoring some value to our lives. It really is. I listen to all the different news stories. I listen to all this political correctness, and it's all hogwash. I don't care about being politically correct, nor do I want to be. There's a right and a wrong. There is a black, and I'll use that color, and a white. And I'm not going to muddle them in between. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning. I'm sure somebody's pointed out by now that non-lethal methods do not reduce the population of the species, i.e. the wolf. I don't know if you scare them away they will come back, obviously. And by scaring them away, you don't eliminate the reproductive factors that grow exponentially, especially with species like wolves.
Absolutely. Let me ask you a question right there, sir. And I don't mean to pry into your personal life, but just give me an example. What are you afraid of?
As related to the wolves?
No. What are you afraid of? Is there something in your life that has always bothered you and you're scared of it?
What am I afraid of?
Yeah.
I'm afraid of the loss of common sense and the loss of past practices that have been effective.
No, I agree with that.
Not only in regards to predator control, but other issues.
Okay, but what I'm getting at is I had a professor in college, and that was a long time ago, and we still circled the wagons at night. But he told me the best way to get over something that's fearful is expose yourself to it day in and day out, 24/7, to the point where it just becomes common hat and knowledge, to the point where you're not afraid of it anymore. So your point that you made earlier is very well taken. These non-lethal methods, like hanging these little ribbons on fences and everything, it might scare them off initially, but then they're going to figure out, it's not going to do anything to me, it's not going to cause me any harm, and those non-lethal methods are not going to do anything as a deterrent.
Yeah, I think wolves are a species that, I don't know if you'd call it intelligence, but they do have a way of figuring things out, and
Absolutely.
They know what is a threat and what isn't a threat.
Absolutely.
If I could ask one more question. As a sportsman and a big game hunter, I can't understand exactly, other than probably it's a detail or technicality, but I don't understand how the wolf can be recognized as a game species and as an animal that is controlled through other means that other game animals are never exposed to, such as poison, trapping, and shooting. I know that to take sportsmen's funds from the revenue from their licenses, etc., and to pay professional people to. I'm not against that, but I just can't understand the contradiction where you can call an animal at a certain point a game animal, and then at the next point they're a threat to agriculture and stock and
Absolutely.
And I don't understand that point. If somebody might call and explain, or maybe to me it's a contradiction that is beyond my comprehension.
Well, they being the environmentalists and the eco-terrorists, etc., and the animal rights folks, they have taken the wolf as a poster child of trying to turn him into a soft, cuddly little, everybody bring him into your living room type creature. And they've tried to convert him now into a big game animal if there's going to be any kind of management. It is not. The wolf is a killer predator. And back 150 years ago, people knew that if they were going to try to flourish and try to raise livestock and try to have a good agricultural community, the wolf had to be eliminated to the point where it was pushed into the background. Why in the world, with any common sense, would you want to see 34, 96, 100, whatever, dead sheep laying on the ground in honor of trying to bring back a predator that was tried to eliminate over 100 years ago? It makes no sense to me whatsoever.
Right. Remember back in the 50s, magpies, you got so much money for a magpie. Coyotes are still, you can shoot them anytime. I think probably if they flipped the coin and said, if you're out there hunting elk and you see 3 or 4 wolves, if you could shoot 3 or 4 of them, then they're going to give you $10 a tail or something like that. I think how that would work. That probably would be effective.
I believe that if there was a law And there are rules and regulations that say that we, the state of Idaho, are going to honor with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service the regulatory means of maintaining 150 wolves, fine, so be it. But any numbers over that are nothing more than mismanaged numbers and need to be eradicated for the sake of big game and agriculture. Do you agree or disagree?
Well, I think you're right. I think we can keep our words and still have an effective method of keeping the wolf population at near that or close to that. And if people get paid for turning in a tail, they're going to gladly do it.
Absolutely. Sir, I appreciate your call. Thank you very much for your thoughts, and call back again. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much.
You bet. God bless. Nice man right there. Hey, don't forget Big Tire Sale. Boy, I tell you what, a lot of good things going on at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. And when I say good things, I'm talking about good, safe driving for you with the best of tires. The best of tires at this tire sale. The best of really nice-looking chrome wheels for your pickup or your car, the best of brake service with professionally trained technicians, the best of front end alignments and shocks and struts, and the best of batteries. Now, I'm going to stop on batteries here for a second because, with the colder weather, maybe you better go in and have a battery check to make sure your battery's going to be up to par to making sure that you start early in the morning and get to work. They've got the best in batteries if you need one. Stop in and see Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, John on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland and Burley. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. One thing that I think needs to be done with the wolves is, and I know I'm going to take criticism, but I don't care. The do-gooders and the Dudley Do-Rights on the left with the Dudley Do-Rights on the left. That made a lot of sense. But those people are going to come out of the woodwork and damn me and condemn me. That's fine. But I believe that we're going to have to get rid of the wolves in manageable numbers. But maybe it's going to take just a little bit of closed mouths. And all of a sudden, some of these wolves get lead poisoning, but we don't go to the coffee shop and brag about it. We don't tell everybody so that it makes the newspaper. We don't talk about eradication. Just be subtle. Get the numbers down, manageable numbers, and we can live with these predators and these killers to the numbers the U.S. Fish and Wildlife has given us the edict of 150 head. Not 1,000, not 1,500, but manageable numbers. Tomorrow on the program, and there's a little bit of discussion as to finalization of some of the people that are going to be there, and I certainly hope we can find out what happened to my good buddy Dan Kish with the Institute for Energy Research. But I do know that we're going to have Professor Bill Jacobson on our program tomorrow. I think. I'm going to put that caveat on there. I do know that we're going to have attorney from Los Angeles, James Herson. I think. I do know, I'm almost emphatically going to say that we're going to have Dr. History on the program, and I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that we're going to have Representative Fred Wood. So, there you go. You got to tune in. We'll saddle the horse and ride for 3 hours at 8:06 right here on K-Bar 1230, and then streaming live on the internet all over the world, zebbell.com. And Gina, I hope that you have a smile on your face for the rest of the day.
I will if I don't have to blow up any computers, which, by the way, I've got a hammer handy.
You know, I saw that Louisville Slugger in the corner the other day when I was over there. And if I were an employee over at that station, I think I'd walk softly and carry a baseball helmet.
Usually people know that on Mondays, just avoid me on Mondays. They run and hide, or they just close the studio doors, because Monday and computers and me just don't seem to get along, especially today.
Well, God bless you. You did a great job considering all the things that blew up, but by golly, you were there. Thank you. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 8:06. The way things were are the way things ought to be.